Hey guys, what's up? This is my $5,000 gaming PC. Yes, at the time of building it, really, I can't really call it $5,000 now, and it's been downgraded a little bit, but I call it that naturally just so I can put it in the title, that's about it. But at the time that I first built the PC based around a Ryzen processor, specifically the 3900X, which is actually not what's in this build, but we'll talk about that in a minute, it was about a $5,000 build. Now, over time, I've kind of upgraded and changed things out and actually downgraded at least one time in separate videos that you can find throughout the channel. But basically, I am finally taking it apart. And I thought in this video it would be really fun to take apart this PC, go through, what the build actually was, why I did, X thing and Y thing in this build, and just, go through it like that. Now, I don't think I'll be taking this apart entirely. I'm basically just harvesting, drives, CPU, and some other things from the build, so I'm actually going to start taking it apart. Now, why am I taking this apart? Because, by all means, this is a PC build that contains the best base components that I literally have. This is the best AIO that I have, the EVGA CLC 360mm. This is the best CPU I have, the 3900 XT from AMD. This is the best GPU I have, a liquid-cooled 1080 Ti. So why would I take this apart? Well, it's because, look at this thing. It's freaking massive, and I kind of want to downscale. Throw down the bed. I want to make my setup smaller. And this giant case, while it's great, has a lot of expandability and all that, it's really not good for that. Not to mention, it's kind of become a little gross because I've had to have it on the floor because I haven't had enough desk space. These are the size of the desk here, and I only have two, so you really can't fit, especially with dual monitor setup. But also, it's that this case kind of broke. You can see like this weird sticky stuff. Yeah, the glass just fell off the case at one point. This is a big problem with the Leon Lee PCO11 Dynamics, at least the first few models, or revisions, whatever, is that the glass was just falling off of the actual things that hold it because it's just held on with some fancy schmancy tape. So that came off very quickly. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I think I'm gonna start by, I'm just gonna take out the GPU. Now, I could, there's a couple schools of thought or ways of doing this. Yeah, I did not even mount that correctly. I could just grab the CPU, the RAM, and the drives out and then just call it a day. Or I could actually do a full take apart, which is probably what I want to do. Yeah, this GPU is freaking epic. I love this 1080 Ti. Sadly, it will not be moving to my new build, because the case does not have the mounting for the liquid cooler yet. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with this card. It is such an awesome GPU, and I'm so happy that I ended up getting it. I got it used from someone, but it's been boosted to 2 gigahertz, stays at 60 degrees under load the whole time. It's great. Wow, this is going to be a tough one. Let's take off this bar. Alright, so in terms of drives, I know I'm behind it. Let's just grab that out. I do want to grab these SSDs in the back. These are very important to future builds, which you'll see why in a sec. These are the two SSDs that I was using in the back here. These are both only 120 gig because at the time that I bought these, I was going for just the looks of them. I didn't really care about the storage amount, and I didn't have a ton of money. If I had bought them now, I probably would have gotten 1 terabyte models of each. But these are probably my favorite 2.5-inch SSDs that I have. This one is a Yeston solid-state drive. It's just really cool. It's Yeston, which is a Chinese company, if you don't know. And this is a King Spec SSD, another Chinese brand. And it's a Christmas-themed one. And it says, "Merry Christmas. Gift comes, bring out the best." And I love that. That's amazing. It's amazingly low quality, and I love it. So I want those drives out. I'll definitely need those. There is a 3 terabyte hard drive in here, which I think I'll just leave for now. And of course our 850 watt PSU. I'm going to demount this. I'm going to go ahead and just unmount this radiator from the side. No wonder this performed great. I had a push-pull where this was pushing air through, and then the fan on the back of the case was actually pulling air through that radiator as well. But, you know, it's just got a simple 120, which, again, kept this 1080 Ti. Even, like I said, no extra fan, so it's not a hybrid card. It just had this one radiator and fan. It was quiet, and it kept it very cool. I do plan on reusing this 1080 Ti up until I get a new version. I don't know if... I usually don't go for gigabyte cards. I am an EVGA or power color like Red Devil user mostly in terms of the cards I end up getting. But I got a gigabyte card, and this card has just been awesome. And I've really become a fan of this design for the graphics card. I love this design, and this RGB as well and everything. So if Aorus makes like a 3070 or 3080 in this, that's what I hope to get for a future build. Though, of course, again, with the case I'm upgrading to, I'm not entirely sure if I can fit this radiator in, but I will try. But I doubt it. I will give it a shot. Now, what do we have left? Where's my screwdriver? In this, alright, so, 2 SSDs. I completely forgot about the second one. So, yeah, this build had 4 SSDs in it, and still didn't have, like, enough storage. Most stuff was stored on bulk in the, oh, that's dusty, on the hard drive. This is just a 240 gig M.2 SATA drive, so nothing special. We'll just add that to the collection. But under this need to put this back. Under this little heatsink on the board, I do love integrated board heatsinks, they're very cool, is where the SSD that I actually need from this build. Alright, that heatsink's back on, and let's talk about this drive for a sec. This is, well, what it looks like is a pretty basic NVMe SSD, but this is a 512 gigabyte Samsung, like, 860 Evo, or some weird thing like that. I don't know the exact model, but it is Samsung, and it is a 512 gig NVMe SSD. This is actually the original NVMe SSD from my old Razer gaming laptop, and I actually, if you don't remember, gave away that laptop on this channel, and a while ago, I think it was last February, so almost a year ago, I gave that laptop away, and I took this out before giving away, and I put it in a new drive, a new NVMe SSD, same thing, just not the same model. Power spec one or whatever. And I kept this because I had a bunch of stuff on it that I wanted to keep, plus it was a really cool drive, and it's kind of sentimental a little bit. Not really a huge sentiment person, that's the point. So I'm going to be putting this drive, it's going to be moving on to yet another build, so that'll be kept. Great. And what else? So the RAM I don't really need right now. I actually won't even need it for the new build. We need our CPU, so I'm going to dismount this cooler. Now, I did really like using this EVGA cooler. This is actually an Asetek cooler, so calling it EVGA I guess is fine, but realistically speaking, it's the Asetek Gen 5 or Gen 6 pump with just an EVGA housing on it. Asetek manufactures it, so this has just been a really good cooler. One of my main problems with it, though, it's freaking loud. The fans are very loud, because basically all the fan profiles, the fans do connect right to the cooler, actually, instead of connecting to the motherboard, and all the profile just keeps them at like 100% the whole time, which is why this cooler just performs really well, is that the fans are just super loud. But yep, it is just standard Asetek, to be completely honest. But again, I recommend this cooler. If you really, if you're not going for super quiet, this is an amazing cooler. Although if you are going for super quiet, I don't think I can in good conscience recommend this cooler with the fans provided. If you provide your own fans or you do a custom profile on your motherboard, you could probably get away using this cooler really good and get a nice silent build, especially since it is a 360, which is awesome. Oh, and they also have a 240 or 120, naturally, and a 280. Alright, so this is the part where I did wipe the thermal paste, first of all. And this is the part where I take extra caution not to drop the CPU when I try to take it out of the socket vertically like an idiot. And just like that. Doesn't look like any pins are bent. Just want to make sure. I always get scared. I forgot how tiny these pins are. Yep, there we go. And there we go, just like that, guys. We have our Ryzen 9 3900 XT that we will be needing for our next build, which will be almost the same as this, except I'll be replacing this GPU probably with something different. A little worse in my opinion, but it'll have, SSDs only, stuff like that. It'll just be an awesome build, and I'm super excited for it, but I needed this CPU because it's the best CPU that I have. And as for this motherboard, this is the Crosshair 7 Hero X470 motherboard. Now it's X470, but it's still freaking awesome. This is an amazing motherboard. I love this board. Although, to be honest, I really don't know what to do with it right now, because I don't exactly have a build plan, but I probably will keep it just because it's such a sick board. Or if I can get like a couple hundred for it, I might sell it. Now, for the RAM, since we're going to talk about it, we went with 24 gigs of Trident Z Neo, which is a little weird, and it's DDR4 3600, so that's why I went with Neo, because that's fast memory, but you're probably wondering, yeah, why 24 gigs between 3 sticks, especially since it's still only dual channel, just 3 sticks, which isn't exactly amazing for performance. Well, it's because I had a dual channel kit, but then I realized that 16 gigs is not enough for editing at all, and I use Premiere Pro. So I had to get 2 more sticks to get 32, but I'm cheap, so I got an open box kit at Micro Center, which had 1 stick broken and 1 stick not broken, and I returned it, but I just completely forgot to put in the other stick. They were like, "Oh, okay, it's fine." I was like, "Yay, I got a free stick of RAM." So that's that. That's the story of how I got some Trident Z Neo. This is such sick memory, though. I love that design. I do love the reflective silver and then the black Trident Z Neo design. Sadly, I don't have enough of this for my new build, which is going to be actually an ITX build. So using 2 of these would still only be 16 gigs. I was going to buy 64 gigs between 2 sticks, but I didn't get a chance yet. So I'll be using regular Trident Z for that build. I actually got it right here. I'll be using these, which are only 3000 megahertz, but they are 32 gig DIMMs instead. So that's fine. That's besides the point. Can't think of anything else in this build. I use the PC cooler fans. There's a whole video about me upgrading to that. As for power supply, now I have to decide if I want to just take apart this whole build right now. You know what? Fine, I'll go for it. I'll take apart the whole thing. Let me take out my motherboard and everything. I had 2 3TB hard drives that I was going to use in this build. One of them was not fully installed, and I forgot to install the cables at all. And when I got here, I just dropped it on the ground, and it broke. So that was, like, really smart on my part. Making sure nothing has snapped off the board, naturally, because that happens. It is a thing that is sadly very surprising. Sadly too common. Things just snapping off the board. This board is freaking awesome, though. I love the way the USB ports are laid out, just in the 2 rows and then the 10 gig ports. Postcode, and then it has a ton of RGB. You got 2 addressables, 2 12 volts. It's awesome. And a reset switch. So this is definitely, and fan headers everywhere. This board is amazing. The Crosshair 7 Hero. This isn't an ad for it, because you can barely even buy this board anyway, so don't go out and buy it. This is an X470 board. Obviously, this is like a $250 motherboard. Of course, it's going to be good. Just thought I'd talk about it here. I love this motherboard. I think it's awesome. I hope to be able to use it again soon in a build. But I don't exactly know what for. Because I think both of my I have 2 3900s. One's an X and one's an XT. I think they're both going to be used for builds, although one might not be, but I don't know what I'll do with it. So, awesome board. I will put that away. And besides that, there's really nothing left of this build except for the 3TB hard drive and the EVGA 850 watt power supply, which I will take out of this to use in a new build later down the line. One of my favorite power supplies of all time. It's just an awesome power supply. I use it. It's like my go-to. But that's the point. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed this little disassembly of my PC to see, what actually made it tick. So we got 2 SSDs, a 3TB hard drive, 2 M.2 SSDs, so 2 SATA, 2 M.2, a GTX 1080 Ti, 24 gigs of Trident Z Neo, 3600, a 3900 XT, and a bunch of, liquid cooling stuff, fans, and all that. This build was loud as hell, and I can't have another build be that super loud, so that's another reason I'm getting the old thing. That's this point. Stick around for my new ITX build starring most of these parts. That's this point. Hope you guys can enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.